So here's our field of personhood. And this is the raw materials of how the ego makes all the different selves. There's only one dreamer, but billions and billions of little cells that make. So, so if you think of cookies, cutting cookies out, you're going to cut the sugar cookies out, and then you're going to decorate them all different ways. But this is the cookie dough here. Okay, so this is the field of cookie dough that all the selves are going to be based on. Okay, so from the laws of chaos, it says everyone must sin. Must. Sin means you left God. Well, if I exist, you better believe I left God. Okay, so that's sin. Can't get around it. Okay, and there's a thought, and there are some of these thoughts are contradictory. There's one thought that says it's all my fault, that terrible guilt and anguish. And there's another thought that immediately says, no, it's not my fault. Somebody else did it to me. God did it to me. It's not my fault. Self-hatred, unworthiness, scarcity. Scarcity is inevitable because here we were part of allness and oneness. Now we've cut oneness off, so there ain't much left to go around, and everybody's trying to get their little bit. So, okay, guilt, sacrifice. The only way that I can get you to do anything for me or get my needs met is I have to make some kind of sacrifice. Could be if I want my needs met at the store, I have to pay money. That's a sacrifice. You know, and if I want you to do things my way, I have to make nice to you and do stuff for you. It's like there's no belief, because of the unworthiness, there's no possibility of really being loved. We think we're totally unlovable. Okay. Resentments. We resent the fact that we have to be nice to people to get our needs met. You know, I have to be nice to you, but part of me is just pissed off that I have to do that. I would rather just take what I want, which some people try to do.
And then we resent how they treat us.
Yeah. And again, from the laws of chaos, there's a substitute for love, which is special love. So there's a substitute for this love, God's love, and it's special love. What this special person does for me, or this special bottle of scotch does for me, or whatever it is. This says, I deserve to be punished. I will be punished. There's a tremendous amount of fear here. And I must find someone to blame. I absolutely must. In order to bear the amount of guilt that's in here and self-hatred, I have to find somebody out there who's worse that I can blame for whatever's going on.
And we manufacture it.
Yeah, and we make them up. Yeah. So I'm the innocent one. And so in our cookie dough here, when we're going to cut out the cookies, we're going to cut out some kind of a victim story. You all have a victim story. It could be race, it could be sexual orientation, it could be you grew up poor, or you didn't get a good enough education, or you had siblings who were horrible to you, or you had no parents at all, or your parents were drug addicted, or you were abused as a child, or you were bullied in school, or you have disabilities and you can't get along, or nobody understands you. Everybody has a victim story. And you notice when we go out to lunch with one another or with anybody, nobody sits and tells you how happy they are and how blessed they are, what a great life they're having. Everybody wants to have the latest victim story to share. You know, and if not your own, then you can talk about a neighbor, you can talk about somebody in your family and how they're suffering and how they're struggling. That's just what we do. That's our default setting, is complaining, finding someone to blame, and we agree with each other, oh yes, that's really awful. So And the only other thing you could do is laugh at it. So these are pseudo thoughts. So we think that the brain here is thinking, and you've got this voice that's going on. It's constantly describing to you what you're doing and why you're doing it, and what your judgments are and what your opinions are, and there's one of the lessons in the workbook talks about the ego's plan for salvation, which it says is holding grievances. And it says it's the ego needs to find something to say, if this were different, I would be saved. So just think, as you go through your day, you could watch yourself. If the traffic weren't so backed up, if the construction weren't so terrible, I would be saved. If you served me faster in the restaurant or whatever, I would be saved. If my irritating coworker just stopped irritating me, I would be saved. And it goes on and on and on, moment to moment to moment. It just goes on, and it just plays on and on and on.